Paul, first of all, let's go through the team news. There's a fair bit to get through, but first of all, Fleck and Davis, do they have a chance for Blackpool?
Probably not. Probably not. It's easier to go through. We have got, isn't it? We've got, we've got over 50% of his first team outfield players injured. Yeah, so not much change.
Okay. Will those two feature at the weekend, or are you looking at after?
Yeah, not far away. Not far away. Flecky didn't train with us today. I've not spoke to Steve after, but the plan was to try and get him in and around it tomorrow. The plan. So, but we'll have to wait and see. But again, just because of how light we are and where we are with a muscle injury, I just don't see it as the right risk. Like we can't afford players out. We literally, you see his bench. We can't afford any more out, so we have to, be a little bit cautious.
McBurney, dead leg.
Dead leg, really struggling today. Obviously, he was desperate not to come off, but he couldn't get about the pitch, and to protect him for further down the line, he had to come off, and for us to get energy on and someone to run about, because he's sore with it today. You never know how they react. Sometimes they can settle down in 48 hours, so we'll give him every chance.
So Blackpool not totally out of the question
not ruling it out
for him?
Not ruling it out.
Okay.
But like, if you'd seen him moving today, you'd say no, but we know well enough that sometimes they can settle down quickly.
Charlie Good? Any improvement?
No, he'll be out for a couple of weeks. We obviously not our player, and we can't take risks with him because Brentford are involved. So his cartilage has flared up. He's been seen a specialist, and he's going to get some sort of clean out injection on that, which will take him to after the international break.
So is he back with Brentford now?
In the short term, but then he'll be back up here with us.
Sure. Baldock?
No.
No for Wednesday?
No.
Saturday?
He's been re-scanned again today.
Right, okay. And Ender Stevens we've not seen for a while. Just wonder where he is. Yeah,
he's off ill today. We're getting there. He would have done the first part of the session with us today, but he's off with a virus today.
Okay. These injuries are ridiculous. Is it fair to say this is the worst injury crisis that you've faced as your short time as a manager? I
wouldn't call them a crisis. It's part and parcel, but when your injured list is far bigger than your fit list, then it's a problem, isn't it? And so we want to know everything about it, why it can be being caused, look into everything. We've got the guys doing a little audit internally now of what's been done from last season, close season, pre-season, all the way through, just to try and look at the patterns, because the reason I'm focusing on it is because a lot of them are soft tissue, little injuries, which is suggesting there's something stressing the players, whether it's a lack of robustness due to training methods, whether it's like the training pitches, because there's been a bog since the end of December. Obviously, we know about the slope there. We can change that round, things like that. So we need to look at everything.
Focusing on the training pitch, then you're not the first Sheffield United manager to bring it up. Have you been assured that those issues will be addressed in the summer?
They've been done before. So I think it was 3 or 4 years ago they did the pictures, but it's not worked. So we need to look at it again and doing it in a different manner and comprehensively. So that's what we're looking into, and we've had some real positive news on that in terms of contractors coming in, the surface we can put down, obviously conversation with the board, and at the end of the day, when it's costing you this much in salaries out, or contributing, should I say, this much in salaries out, we've got to look at it.
I'm no groundsman, but if you're training on a boggy pitch one day and then you're going out onto a football field the next, and at this time of year where they're starting to presumably firm up again, it can't be good for the muscles, that, can it?
No, it's not. There's research, so we know it's a problem. There's research out there suggesting that, and like I said, year on year, so the similar problem last year. This year, it's not just that. We had times where we've not been able to go on the grass. We've not had a full pitch to train on. We've not. So there's issues for when you're trying to work with players as well. Definitely.
Yeah.
So that's that's one of the reasons, which we knew all about anyway. But obviously, we're now looking at the build-up, if you like, and that continued training regime of really heavy, boggy, slippy pitches. We use Bramall Lane as well, but then you're bringing another issue into it if you're training on a bog on the Monday, firm Tuesday, but you know what I mean, brings in. So these are all the things, like I said, that I want the guys to look into, along with individual player training, how they've been from last season, pre-season, things like that.
Does the intensity of training change when you are low on numbers?
Yeah, we have to now. Yeah, we have to watch what we're doing. Without a doubt.
Looking at our blaster who came in onto the bench on Saturday, it's great to see young kids coming in, but in an ideal world, is it fair to assume that this wouldn't be the scenario where you'd be looking to turn to the kids?
No, listen, in terms of Blaster, I think he's going to be a real good player, and I can see him playing in Sheffield United's first team. But if you went and stood with him and stood next to him, he's still a boy. He's got the brain of a man, and he handles the ball like anyone in the first team. He's going to be a good player, but he's still a boy. But that's where we're at. So we can't leave the bench empty. You never know what's going to happen on the pitch. But yeah, of course we want to start getting them back and filling that with people who've been in this position before, been successful in this position as well, and can put a real challenge and fight on, and help us pick up the points that we need.
Billy Sharp's been in here, said there's been a conversation about what happened on Saturday. Are you happy with what came out of that meeting and the feedback you had from the players as well?
Anyone who's at the game, we all know too many of our good players had an off day all at once, and it was like one prompt to the next. We dealt with one thing, and then individual errors or bad decisions, and it was an accumulation. And I hope they all came in one game, because I've not seen that before from Marlott. We've been really good in lots of moments in the game, whether we've been stretched, whether we've been defending as a group compactly, emergency defending, last ditch. We've been really good. So I think it's good to go through it and have a little reminder about how we defend, how we play, where we went wrong, how we get information on the pitch better, and what it's all about. So it does no harm to look at everything, but like I say, it's not like that's the trend. That at the minute is the outlier, so hopefully it'll stay that way.
Did it shock you though?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, without a doubt. And looking at it back, it was worse than, it's bad, but yeah, it was, like I say, it was too many things all at once happened. You do one thing, then it was another mistake, and the problem is when the mistakes are leading to goals and costing you, it changes the game, doesn't it? And the more you chase, the more you push while you're making these errors, the more open you are.
We only ever really see one side of you, very calm, level-headed. Be honest, how were you in the dressing room after the game Saturday?
Yeah, that's the calmest I've been.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it was important how that was. Yeah, I think that was important how that was fed back, and like I said, for me that's not the norm. But you can't wash over it, you can't ignore it. You've got to look at it and see why, and understand what happens when you leave a run, understand what happens when someone plays a 1-2 round, you understand what happens when you're not holding the ball up, when you're not winning first headers, second balls. There's only one outcome. So yeah, it's a reminder. It's a reminder of how we want to perform, but also it's a reminder of this league and how tough it can be, because teams are going to be at it, and whether we're playing teams at the top or at the bottom, they're all going to be scrapping as hard as what Coventry did.
Is fatigue an issue, not just for yourselves, but other teams at this stage of the season as well?
Yeah, everyone's in. I don't know, because everyone's got different circumstances, haven't they? Everyone's got different injury lists, if you like, had a different training schedule or game schedule, change of team route, whatever. So everyone's been in a different position, really. So yeah, I don't think you get used to it as you play. But certainly it's 46 games is a slog if you're one of them players who's been playing them all. But again, back to developing that robustness and that ability to do that. That's a big thing, and you can develop that over time as a player.
Billy, as I mentioned, has been in here. He's let it slip that there's a meeting happening today over a contract, a new one. What can you tell us on that score?
Yeah, nothing really. I spoke with Bill a long time ago about it. He's one of the players. We've got a few players with options in the contract, and he's one of them. And yeah, so that's what the conversation will be about.
You hopeful that'll happen? He seems pretty confident that.
What, am I
it'll
confident Bill will
place.
be in it? I'm confident Bill will be in next year. Yeah, but I'm not. Like I say, I'm not making any statements there because nothing's set in concrete, nothing's set in stone. I've said before, we need to make sure that we've got real clarity on what the budget's going to be, what can we spend, what can't we spend, and then we make the decisions from there. But in terms of the players we've got, I think Bill's one of a number who've been performing very well and who can still help us get where we want to be, which is the top end of this league.
Has he surprised you with the amount of goals he's provided? I guess we shouldn't be, should we? Because he's done it all his career, but the stage of his career that he's at, and he's still looking as sharp, for want of a better phrase, as he ever has done.
He's hungry. He's hungry. He wants to score. He wants to play. He wants to be in the team. But no, goals aren't surprised. I think he's really bought into how we tried to play in terms of how we want to use the front players, and arguably we're seeing a different side to his game that he probably didn't have. So work rate, yeah, I saw that last year out of him, saw it when I've watched him. So I'll go back to say the Fulham game, for example, or the Borough game at home. When he keeps himself fit, the energy and the work rate without the ball's no problem. I think where he has developed, if you like, or shown a different side to his game would be in the link play we try and bring, getting bodies round him and him being a part of that. 'Cause he's got the brain for it. You can see it. He sort of took to it straight away in training when we're getting bodies round him, trying to play off one, trying to play quickly with strike partners or midfield players, and I think that's where he's probably added a different dimension.
How receptive was he to all of that when you tried to add little bits into his game, when he's used to just being in the middle of the goals, putting the ball in the back of the net?
Good, they all have. I think if it's something to create chances for you, strikers are going to enjoy that. So, you know, big trend in the game about trying to win the ball back high up the pitch. We've had to do that in lots of games because of personnel we've lost and things like that. Trying to win the ball back high, you win it back high, you're close to goal, more chances for your strikers. So the strikers want to be a big part in that, winning the ball back high. Likewise, we want to play into his front men a lot and try and play quick in and around the opponent's box. So if that's going to create chances for the strikers, they want to be a part of it, they want to be good at it and get on the pitch and be there on the pitch when the chances come. So I think that's the reason. That's why strikers want to be involved in it.
One more on him. He must be a manager's dream, though, because he sets his standards so high. He cares about the club more than probably anybody else in that squad. That's no disrespect to the others, by the way, but he will, won't he, expect the same of everybody else. And for a manager to have a captain who's built in that way, must be brilliant for you.
Yeah, but I think, not to oversimplify it, I think he does it because he wants to play, he wants to be in the team, wants to score.
Yeah.
The byproduct. When Bill's done, his career's finished, he'll still be a Sheffield United fan. Do you know what I mean? But at the minute, at this moment in time, he wants to be in the team, wants to play. So that's why he's looking after himself, training hard, trying to impress, trying to win games. Because he knows if the team's winning and he's involved in the wins, he's going to be on the pitch more, score more goals. So I think that's the simplest way to look at it. Fan or not, he's still always going to be a fan of this football club when he's finished. So that'll never change.
I want to ask you about Jack Robinson, another player who's on my list to discuss with you, because I'd be interested to get your take on how you feel he's turned his season around, if you like, over the last few months. He's become such an important player, hasn't he? What has he done? What have you done with him to get him producing consistently, Saturday aside, of course?
I think believing in him. Make it really clear what we expect and what his role is, and when he's performed it, he's held his place, hasn't he? So
yeah.
I think that's really important, and then there's that consistency with him and for him. The same last year, he was coming back from injuries. We had one or two, obviously we're at the bottom end of the Premier League. We had one or two injuries and he was coming back, and I said, look, don't think You're not a player, so if you get to a level where you're training well enough, we'll put you in. I'll have a look at you. Did that. His training was top, and he got in the team then towards the back end and helped us win a couple of games as well. Then, so I think that message was already put across to him, so he knows if he's performing, he's going to stay in the team, and he has. He's on the whole, he's performed very, very well. Like every defender, we all make mistakes, and it'll cost your team a goal, but put that to one side and go again and help keep a clean sheet in the next game.
But you've got to have the mental fortitude, haven't you, to deal with the setbacks, and he did have a few in a relatively short amount of time earlier in the season. So I guess that's a real measure of his strength of character, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's something we speak about, because when you care, and Robbo cares, he wears out in his sleeve, he cares, and he wants to play well, he wants to have as good a career as he can, he wants to help us win games. So, when you make a mistake, it's a dent, it could be something that costs you. So working on how to deal with that and give it perspective and put it to one side so you perform well enough after that is a skill in itself, as well as handling a football, heading a ball, whatever. It's a skill in itself. So yeah, it's something that's really important, and I think he's shown as you said, a good response to that and being able to manage his game very, very well.
The long throws are help as well, isn't it? That's a real weapon of his.
Yeah, it is. Well, we got
as daft as it sounds, that is a real part of his armoury, isn't it?
It is, and we got the goal from it the other day, or the second phase. Did one of his long throws lead to a corner, but we got a goal from it. So, yeah, it's part of it. We've played about with how we use it in terms of setup and area delivery, because he has got. It is such a weapon. It's quite accurate. So we've had the luxury of being able to do that, and we're happy where it is now.
So what do you want to see from the lads at Blackpool?
What we've seen the previous however many games, put the Coventry one aside, but it is a reminder there's going to be similarities. Blackpool, they may make passes at the back, but predominantly then they'll look to go forward and hit Medine, and there's runners off that. Coventry's problems where they caused us when they was very direct. Might have been a different outlet with pace, but it's certainly about the first ball and the second ball. And this Blackpool side on Wednesday night, that's how they've been posing problems, along with how and where they've won the ball back and the set plays. So it's going to be a good test.
They've had a great season, haven't they? Blackpool, season, no matter what happens from this point, to get the amount of points they've got. Yeah,
and they're on a good run. I think Neil's team's evolved over the season, so I thought they had a real good start, which, again, speak from experience, I think you could put a lot of that down to that newness, freshness, excitement and the energy that brings. And then credit to Neil, his team's evolved over the following months to a point now where I'm seeing a good balance to it, and a couple of changes he makes tactically still pose the same threats, but he does them then to try and adapt to the opposition and still pose the same threats, like I say. So I think the team's evolved to a place now where you can see why they've won the last three.
Is he someone that you've crossed paths with throughout your coaching journey at all? Someone you know? Only
conversations, not against each other or anything like that, only conversations. So, yeah, it was interesting to see how we did. Obviously, they got the promotion last year. As I said, this season, because I've been in and around the league, it's been easy for me to follow how they've done, and I've been impressed.
And they're a team who are not out of the conversation themselves for the playoffs, so does that add more importance to the fixture? It's an opportunity to keep another side out of it and away from you.
It's like I said before, at the minute it's irrelevant because most teams we play are going to be, so we've just got to try and win. Do you know what I mean? We weren't trying to beat Coventry on Saturday to stop them. We're trying to win to get us 3 points to fire up, and that's the same message. You look at the fixtures again; it's the same. Teams are playing each other. And I said before, it'll be a while because of the amount of teams that's in the mix, because of how close it is. It won't be till the last few games where you sort of know exactly what you need, because the fixtures will have panned out. But even then, I won't be surprised if there's one or two still playing each other who it's going to come down to wire on, and that's what's going to make it interesting.
See this as a big week, obviously international break coming up, which I'm assuming you'll be glad of to try and get some freshness back in.
And that's why it's a big week. We know where we're at. We've got to just enjoy the challenge of it. we've been dealt a lot of things, but we've been handling them, we've been managing them. So it's as if like, all right, and you dealt with that, we'll deal with this one, and then deal with this one, and so we're going to try and deal with it and get points, and that's what we do. So that's why I see it's a big week, because we've got 2 big games, 2 tough games for different reasons. And we've just got to embrace it and get the most out of it that we possibly can, however we possibly do it. It doesn't matter, just get the most out of it.